everybody. Welcome back. This is Miss Faye, and this is my world. Today's topic is dealing with ungrateful siblings. Dealing with ungrateful siblings. Before we get started, I'd like to say welcome. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to all the new viewers, the new subscribers, and welcome to you who have been with me from the beginning. I really appreciate you. Now we have a letter, and it's a little lengthy, so let's just dive right into this letter. Here we go. I am a 42-year-old single male who lives a comfortable life after many years of sacrifice and hard work. I was raised by a single mother, along with my younger brother, now 38 years old, in a small town. My mom left my father when I was 4, and my brother was a newborn. In the last few months, I bought my mother her own house and condo in Florida, where she can spend the winter. I think that is wonderful. Kudos to you. I make sure she has a reliable car and is living a good life as she gets older. She is now 65. We lived very humbly growing up. Some would say poor, but we were rich in the love provided by our mother. Always had a clean, safe place to live and healthy food to eat. Mom worked on and off in a string of low-paying jobs and lived paycheck to paycheck. I feel it. I feel it. Our father lives in the Caribbean and has not played a very significant role in our lives. Though he invited us to visit him over summer breaks when we were young, and as a result, we had great opportunities to see that part of the world. That's all right. The visits were not always rosy, however. My father was living with a woman with whom he ended up having a son, who has always been intensely jealous of my mother and my father's relationship with us. Yeah, well, that can happen, especially if this woman is feeding negative information to the son, which he probably is. Okay? Just jealousy. My father never married this woman, and my father has always told me that his relationship was a matter of convenience. He told me when I was little that she had tricked him in becoming pregnant when he was drunk. You know what? It's unfortunately that it does happen. It does happen, you know. It's a shame that women feel desperate enough to do something like that. She is more of a mother, cook, and housekeeper to him, and he treats her as such. She came from extreme poverty, and therefore my father was her ticket to a different life. Well, of course, that's why she got pregnant. When I was a child, she would make snide and underhanded remarks about my mother to me when my father was not around. She did the same thing to her son. That's why he has this feeling about all of you. To diminish her in my eyes. The attitude has transferred to her son in that there was always a competition for my dad's attention when we were visiting. Since we were well-behaved and good-looking kids, my dad's family and friends would gush about us to him in front of her and her son while we were there. Yeah, well, I know they hated that. My mother, also especially good-looking, and everyone who meets her remarks how beautiful she is. And then my father has privately mused about getting back together with my mother, though my mother would not be interested. My father was an alcoholic and they had a physically abusive relationship. I recall incidents as a child when my father would come home drunk, acting erratic, and going into sudden bursts of yelling, and in one instance, asking irritatedly while we were keeping our distance and pulled me by the leg across the bed, which was frightening, given I was not used to that in my life with my mother. He would drink too much at parties and start slurring words and drive drunk with us in the car. And she did right to, you see, because she left, and she did right to leave it. She didn't want her kids to grow up around an alcoholic, okay? He didn't pay any meaningful amount of financial support to my mother while we were children. He was too busy drinking it up. His mentality seemed to be that she left him and he wasn't going to make it easy for her raising us. Childish, too. We heard from him once or twice a year. No Christmas gifts. He took no real interest in our activities or interests or aspirations. The only meaningful exposure to him was during the summers we spent with him. He did seem to be happy to see us while we were there and sad when we were leaving. He lost his parents at a young age, and his much older siblings didn't give him much support or guidance. They moved away to developed countries and started their own families. Fast forward to today. I don't speak to my father much. I cannot respect the way he abdicated his parental responsibilities, partly out of spite to my mom, and how totally uninvolved and uninterested he is in our lives. He seems resigned to the way our relationship has been and tells me that communication is a two-way street. People say that when they don't want to be bothered with you. They tell you, well, you got a phone too. Oh, you know what? That's it. Later for that. My brother has tried to maintain communication with our dad, but has been disappointed over and over in my dad's lack of effort. Starting in our early 20s, my relationship with my brother became strained. He has blamed me for many different things in the past, not financially supporting him in university when he needed a loan for rent, and for not helping him move in and out of new places. Well, you know what? Unfortunately, many times in families, if the dad leaves and it's two boys, the younger boy will look at the older boy kind of like you're filling in because dad isn't here. So he's kind of looking at you as a dad figure, although your ages are very close together. It's just the dad wasn't there. You had it. Mom didn't have it. So, that's why they kind of lean on you as a dad figure. There is some kind of clinical research about the firstborn. I was the firstborn. And we're kind of leaders of the family, I guess the siblings or whatever. So that's why your brother leaning on you. He is all over the map and makes impulsive and disorganized life decisions that create extra hardship for him. Recently, he sold his condo, and because of last-minute planning, he wanted to store a bunch of things in my house so he could move out west. He didn't want to pay for a storage unit. He didn't want that responsibility. He figures if he could store his junk at your house, you're not going to get rid of it. It'll still be there. When and if he wants it, because if he's moving west, how's he going to get the money to ship all that crap west? No. I have been a storage facility for his unwanted junk for as long as I can remember. I don't mind helping him, but he treats me like a doormat while putting his friends on a pedestal. But he wants to look good in front of his friends. You already know him. You see, he wants to be like the big man in front of his friends. That's why he's doing that. The only time I hear from him is when he needs something. And even then, he acts as though I owe him. Yeah, you kind of like dad. You're responsible for him. Okay. He tries to maintain relationships with people with whom I don't speak, including my mom's ex-boyfriend of 13 years, my father, and my half brother, and always tries to mention that he spoke to them recently in a conversation to me. Yeah, just to get under your skin. That's why he does that, just to irritate you, because your brother views you as having everything perfect. He knows he doesn't measure up to it, so he's going to try to chop you down a bit. You know, humble you a bit. That's what that is. Jealousy. I also came to find out that he has told my dad embarrassing details about my last two relationships failing. It hurts that my brother seems to have more loyalty to others than my mom and me. Well, he's a wild card, okay? For several years now, he has been independent, making his own living and keeping his own home. However, he has been taken advantage of financially by so-called friends when buying real estate, cars, and taking out loans. I used to give him advice, but stop, because he gets very defensive. Yeah, because he views you as being perfect, and he's trying to show that he can do things, but, he's not willing to ask for help from you. Can you show me how to do this? Can you tell me how to do that? His ego, his jealous ego, won't allow him to humble himself enough to ask you for guidance. Since he sees that you've done it before, if he just asks you, it will save him a lot of pain, worry, and money. But his ego won't let it. All right. All right. Let's get on down with this letter. I feel like I am only as good as the last thing I've done for him. I am also starting to feel like he has taken on the traits of my father by failing to take an accountability for his behavior towards me. Well, I kind of explained to you why he has that behavior towards you, and it may last forever. That's his free will to be negative, but it doesn't have to affect you. You might have to just cut him off. Don't let him drag you down. I tell you, because, I have a sibling, and, she has some issues and all of that. And I tried to help her. I was like the run-to person, if things got real bad. I was like the last resort. All right. So she came to me, and I tried to help her. I tried to give her what I could, and, in food, clothes, and whatever she needed. I just, gave it to her. But then, one day she snapped and wanted to fight me. Well, I said, that's it. That's it. And, the family, half of them, got angry with me and not talking to me to this day. But listen, I'm at peace. I'm at peace. I would not allow people to come in and just continue to take advantage of you. And then you're left with that bad feeling that they left in you for taking advantage of you. No. And that just drags you down. That drags you down, make you think negative about the situation. No, let it go. All right. Am I being petty? No. I should just cut off contact with my brother. Well, you know what? You don't have to cut off contact. Just tell him you're not going to take no more of his junk. And he needs to get the junk that's in your home right now out. Give him a deadline. And if he doesn't, tell him it's going in the dumpster. All right? You're not obligated to hold his junk forever and ever. No, let him know that, and then he'll kind of get the message that you're backing away from him. And I would not sit up and listen to his conversations for a while because he's going to be angry. So he's going to be doing everything to get up under your skin and saying things or whatever. And I don't know if he's hostile or violent or anything, but this is going to bring it out when you finally put your foot down and say no. My mother wants us to be close. I know she does. That's mother. That's a mother's love. Of course she wants you to be close, but you have to do what's good for you. You can't let this energy drag you down and destroy your life because of him. No, this is your life, and you protect your life by any means necessary. Protect yourself. I want a peaceful life, and he seems to always bring drama, strife, and inconvenience into my life while offering very little in return. Yeah, cut him off for a while. If he's going west, he's off. But yeah, I would tell him, come get his junk. You might want to give him 30 days if you got anything already stored there. Say, you got to take your junk and I'm not going to keep any more of your stuff. Like that. He's not going to like it or anything, but you have to put your foot down at some point. I had to do it with my sister. It's over. Done. All right. And let him go on and figure out life. If he's going west, let him go on out there. Figure out life on his own. But they could just be taught. But in any regard, you are not obligated to keep carrying your brother all your life. And plus, he doesn't even appreciate it. I could see it if he really needed your help and he came and asked for your help, which is a different thing. He's never really, appreciated the things that you have been doing for him. He wants to treat you like you have an obligation to him. Well, let him know, no, I'm not obligated to take care of you. You have to learn how to take care of yourself. And then give him the thing about, you got to come and get this junk out of my house. And, I think it'll work for you, but you got to cut him off. And don't go back on it. When you make a decision like that, it's done. You don't have to go and tell your mom that you did it, because that will only upset her. It's between you and your brother. And if your brother wants to go over there and cry to your mom, then that's whatever. And you can just tell your mom, well, I wasn't willing to do it anymore. Leave it like that. You don't know people all kind of long explanations why you did it and all this kind of stuff. No, your focus should be on your better good. Always. I hope you understand the message today, and I really hope that it helps. Now, those of you who may have a question that you'd like for me to answer, my email address is in the description. And if you're looking for today's affirmation, the link is also in the description. I want to thank you so much for supporting this channel. Thank you for your comments and your letters, and a very special thank you to those that leave a donation. Now, those of you who may be looking for some of the books or products that I have been recommending on this channel, in the description, you'll see a link to my Amazon store. All of the books, products are right in one place. So check it out. And if you're looking for something that I've recommended before, you can't remember what video you saw it, click on the link and you'll find it in the store. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. I wish you all the very best and happiness, and I really hope to see you next time.